Move
to me
along.
as if we'd risk a lot for just a ghost of a chance. I'm not sure if this is wise.
No chance is better than two. That's how the saying goes. You should talk to the Grandmaster. He called for you.
Did he now? How nice. Then I suppose I'll answer the holy call of duty. Lord bless it, Archmagister. Ah, Prophet. If you have a moment, I'd like to talk. Just come upstairs. Ah,
There you are.
if
Have you
a
recovered?
moment, I'd like to talk. Just come upstairs when you find the time.
Well, I suppose as good as can be expected under our circumstances. The Truchessus sent half our Arcanists to reinforce the gate sigil, which makes working on the beacon harder, of course. Furthermore, the nightmares have become worse, and more reports of the Red Madness are coming in. It's tragic. Truly tragic. Yes, citizens are disappearing from the city, and our outposts are finding them in the wilderness, starving and delirious. And even worse, they are extremely violent. Take care if you're on the road. Oh yes, without any doubt. The war has made things far worse. It's almost as if the High Ones draw strength from the chaos. Or maybe it's a sign that the cleansing is approaching. I don't know. Well, let's say we have a lead to a place where we could find a lead. But let me start at the beginning. While you were sleeping, someone tried to break into the storehouse of the garrison. A starling named Kamai. You have? That's good. Then he might trust you. Well, brace yourself. He said he was looking for Shadow Steel, because he's been working on a starship for 2 decades now. He wants to use it to find the forgotten homeland of his people. Yes. Doesn't it ring a bell? The Star People believe that their ancestors were born in a forgotten place among the stars. A place without war or hunger, where everyone lives in perfect harmony. All the technology, all the machines that we owe to them were invented to help them get back to this place. A very nostalgic idea. It really is, but unfortunately, a lot of Star People have died in that quest. The starships have crashed, or they simply disappeared. Up until now, no one has ever found the Star City. Kumai, however, claims that he can do it. Well, bear with me. At first, of course, we all considered him insane. He was begging and pleading and insisting that he was just an inch from finishing his ship, and that it really could get him to the Star City. Well, unlike the others, the Grandmaster listened to him, and he ordered the scouts in Doomville to look for the cave where he claimed his workshop was. And you won't believe it, but they found out 2 things. First of all, the ship really does exist. And secondly, he says he used ancient Starling plans to construct the ship, which were handed down for generations in Anku, the Starling city on Nerim. We had a look at them. They look very similar to the plans we used to construct the beacon. Well, either that, or the ones who created the beacon also helped the Ancient Fathers build the Star City. There's no way to know for sure, but either way, what it does mean is that the Ancient Fathers must have known about the cycle, and therefore about the High Ones and the cleansing. Well, let's put it this way. If anybody knows, it's them, and it's definitely the best lead we have found so far. So, in other words, what that means is that we need to help this Kamai finish his ship, and that we will accompany him on his journey to the Star City. Just imagine if it works. A city in the stars that has lasted for millennia. It's unbelievable, truly unbelievable. You make it sound so easy. But in a nutshell, yes, that's what we need to do. First, you should visit Kamai's workshop in the Powder Desert. The Grandmaster and some Arcanists have already left. And needless to say, be vigilant when outside the city. The Neromese might not be careless enough to have their camp right in front of the gates, but they have established outposts all over Enderal, as you have undoubtedly already noticed. You are familiar with teleport magic, aren't you? Here, take this scroll. It will transport you directly to the Powder Desert. I need to get back to my studies now. The more we learn about the beacon, the more fascinating it becomes.
Ah, there you are. The Truchessa has been looking for you.
She has? Why?
It's about the defense of the city.
There you are.
Apparently, there are still some rat runs inside. We need to clamp
Lashari brought that map from some Parayan ruin a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
Looks confusing, doesn't it? She said it contains more knowledge about the Parayans than all the tomes in the Sun Temple's library put together. And now she's gone, just like Constantine. It still feels surreal.
The Grand Master did the right thing.
Yes.
Well, let us say that I have been thinking a lot about the decisions we make in life and where they lead us. But let's not talk about that now.
Time believing that.
It's true.
I did, yes, because I require your help in a personal matter.
Do not forget that.
There hasn't been a good time since the Red Madness broke out. And believe me, I wouldn't bother you with this if it weren't important.
That's what it does to people.
Hard to explain. Come.
Maybe just simple cowardice. I need to go.
Fair enough. Where do I start? Imagine the following scenario. You're in an old fortress. Suddenly a door opens and a bandit charges in. Before you even realize what is happening, he raises his bow, nocks an arrow, and fires it straight at your throat. What happens next? That is one possibility, yes. It might be the one you would experience. The truth, however, is a bit more complex than that. Reality branches off into millions of new realities. One in which the bandit kills you, one in which he gets hit by a falling piece of rubble from the ceiling, one in which a tunnel spider jumps out from the shadows and kills him. The possibilities are endless. Everything that can happen will happen, and creates a new eventuality in the process, another reality. In a million others, yes. There might even be one where a magical anomaly suddenly transforms the bandit into a myriad. Everything that can happen will happen. This is the nature of our universe. I'm getting there. I assume you know that this mechanism is also the reason for the existence of magic. An arcanist is able to transport eventualities from one reality into another, and thus perform feats considered supernatural. So far, so good. But what if there were a way to not only bring elements of other eventualities into ours, but to travel these other realities physically? I am indeed. Well, this is where it gets exciting, isn't it? With the planeswalker. Come, let us sit. Have you ever heard of the name Dalmaric? That's the one. What hardly anyone knows, however, is that Dalmaric's experiments reached far beyond the Sunwheel. Among other things, he worked on a device called the Planeswalker, a combination of Endralian mentalism and Parayan technology. Temporarily, yes. Sadly, Dalmaric never had the chance to finish it, since he was too busy blowing up Thalgard. Lashari? No. Even if we were to find a reality where she didn't die, we couldn't bring her back. Suffice it to say that there is something I need to see. Something I want to see. To be honest, it wasn't my intention to drag someone else into this. But there's no other choice, so here we are. We should, yes. But let me reassure you that this endeavor won't take up too much of our time. And as I've already said, I would not bother you with this if it weren't important. It could, but not that much. Other than what I'm planning to use the planeswalker for, we lack a concrete plan for using it against the cycle. The only thing we could do with it is use it to blindly glimpse into other realities and hope that we can gain information in the few moments we have there. And for reasons I will elaborate on later, traveling into other realities is quite dangerous. In other words, it's not worth the risk. No, Prophet. Our fight against the High Ones is one we'll have to fight in this world. There's no way around that. Indeed. It would mean a lot to me, if that's worth anything to you. Apart from doing a good deed, and the chance to do something Arcanists have been dreaming of for millennia, rest assured I will properly reward you. Well, first of all, we need to acquire 2 materials I wasn't able to find here in Ark. The Ether Crystal, and a special kind of alloy. According to my research, Dalmaric's old laboratory in Thalgard would be a good place to start our search. Yes, I'll tell you more about it later. You mean Jakil and Mjorl? Yes, they could. But their magical talents aren't anywhere near powerful enough to help with the activation ritual. Also, son knows why, I can't help but feel a certain amount of trust towards you. Right in the middle of Thalgard's contaminated areas, so it will be dangerous. You have a map, don't you? Here. That's where we should find the entrance. I have some preparations to make first, so let us meet there shortly. Ah, and one more thing. I would appreciate it if we could keep this matter between you and I for now. I know I've said it before, but this mission is personal, and I'd rather not have to justify it to Aranthiel. Firstly, because it's a personal matter. Secondly, it's too much of a risk as long as Khalim and his helper are still sauntering about. The less people know of this mission, the better. Oh, that's complicated. We'll talk about it once we get there. The essentials. Well, suffice it to say that what happened to Lashari and Constantine have made me question certain things. I know that they gave their lives for the greater good, but frankly, there have been times when I've found it hard to stay true to our cause. I am hoping that what I'll find over there will help me regain some sense of purpose. Yes, I know, probably not the answer you were hoping for, but it's the best I can do for now. Forgive me. We will. I will meet you in Thalgard. Tenacious bastards. Sunborn, the descendants of those who had the dubious pleasure of surviving the Sunfire. They don't. I'm not an expert on the subject, but as I understand it, the after effects of the Sunfire cripple their vocal cords. Well, you'd have to ask the Holy Grand Master about that. But honestly, why would they? To the Order, the Sunborn are just a bunch of disfigured savages inhabiting a ruined patch of land. They don't dare go outside the contaminated area. I don't think so. Researching the matter would be quite costly, and who would profit from it? As I said, 2 objects. The ether crystal, and a special kind of alloy. I'll look for the alloy, you look for the crystal. Agreed? I don't know exactly, but according to my sources, it's made of a fluorescent blue mineral. And regarding your first question, it's the core element of the planeswalker. Think of it as a kind of enhancer of one's gaze into the sea of eventualities. Well, the reason so many Arcanists lose their minds is that we as mages constantly perceive other eventualities. Not consciously, but as some kind of background static. The ether crystal strengthens our perception of other eventualities while we wear it. If you were to have it with you permanently, then yes, maybe. I suggest you try his old laboratory first. It should be close to the library, so further down. Come on, let's get started. Just come back here once you've found the crystal. So, had any luck?
Aye, but it's all shards. The roof came down on it.
What? No, that can't be. Show me.
Suit yourself.
No. No, 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 no. It's impossible.
Apparently it's not. So what about my pay?
You'll get it.
Maybe you're just wrong and this goddamn crystal was never in here in the first place. Ever thought of that?
It is here. Let's keep looking.
All right, all right. We have all the time in the world, don't we?
There you are. So? Doesn't surprise me. What exactly? Huh. Interesting. I suppose those were glimpses into nearby reality strands. The crystal enhanced your gaze and let you perceive elements of other eventualities in this one. Lashari. Yes, of course. It must have been a scene from another reality, where she survived the assassination attempt. Or where she never went after the traitor in the first place. And I asked her for help instead of you, which would have been my plan if she weren't... Well, let's not talk about it. That we still haven't caught her killer is driving me insane. I did. Ah, I see what you're getting at. You're drawing conclusions about my personality because of this, right? It is. Are you aware of the fact that, quite often, a tiny event is enough to leave an impression on a person's personality forever? I don't know what the Yuzlan from the other reality went through, but it's likely that he was quite different from me. Or, who knows, perhaps the mercenary wasn't trustworthy. Either way, no need to be afraid of me. Now, may I see the crystal? Correct. Thank you. I do have the alloy, by the way. It's a bit dented, but I should be able to fix it. Huh. Fascinating. Maybe we need to disassemble it. Either way, we did what we came here for. I'll take the crystal to Ark and find a safe place to store it. Here, I found this further down. Why don't you take it? It might be useful. I will need a couple of days at least to fully reconstruct the planeswalker. I started months ago, but the crystal and the alloy were still missing. Meet me in the dust pit in the Undercity 2 days from now. It's some kind of arena, in case you haven't been there before. See you then. There you are. Very well. Nice place, isn't it? While the Neramis are in front of our gates, the people down here are bashing each other's heads in, and the crowd is cheering them on.
Just remember your training. You can do this.
Possibly. Be that as it may, I finished reconstructing the planeswalker. It was expensive and arduous, but the result turned out better than expected.
You live and learn.
In a safe place. Come along.
Relata Shira. We don't want any trouble, all right?
Either way, here it is. The Planeswalker. Your knowledge of geometrical shapes is truly impressive. No, it's more than a cube. You'll see. Correct. But in order for it to do that, we need to activate it first. See those 3 crystal fragments worked into the casing? Well observed. Essentially, the Planeswalker creates a distortion in reality. Imagine the following. When you cast a fireball, this fireball is coming from another eventuality, correct? Accelerated heat you conjure right into your fingertips. While you're doing this, there's a brief moment in time where the door between this eventuality and our world stands ajar. Magic means being able to bring elements from other eventualities into ours, as though they are coming from another room. However, to access this room, no matter how briefly, one needs to open a door to it. That's what we call a rift. Good. The problem is that this rift normally exists for only a split second. And this is where the Planeswalker comes into play. It maintains the rift the moment we create it. Yes. I will cast the spell, but I will need to borrow from your strength. You'll see why. No more than any advanced spell, but I have ambrosia with me, so fever shouldn't be a problem. In a moment. Once the rift is open, we'll only have a limited amount of time, so 3 things in advance. First of all, according to Dalmaric, planeswalking is extremely dangerous. Well, he thinks that an eventuality recognizes irregularities after a certain amount of time, and corrects them. In other words, massive arcane fever and a brain hemorrhage. So we'll have very little time over there. Secondly, the further an eventuality is located from our strand, the less time we can stay in it. Realities in which Vin doesn't even exist would correct us the moment we step through the rift. I doubt it. Trying to counteract an eventuality with ambrosia is probably as helpful as putting a warm compress around your neck after someone has decapitated you. How should I know? One would have to experiment to find that out, and considering what's at stake, I think that's a bad idea. Well, let me put it this way. I'd actually prefer to go through the rift by myself, but knowing you, I doubt you'd stay behind. But, and this is important, once we're there, please don't follow me. Look around, explore the area, do whatever you feel like doing. But let me carry out my task in peace. Please. It involves a person who was once very important to me. Are you satisfied, or do I need to pour out my whole heart to you? Good. Then let's waste no more time, shall we? Here, take this and cast it at my command. Do it from... wait. Yes, from over there. Let's begin. Gosh. It worked. By the name of the sun. Worked. It actually worked. Hira, the Siras Islands, a few miles from the shore near Al-Rashin. You feel it too, don't you? The fever? It is. It must be the eventuality trying to correct us, just as Dalmaric said it would. In other words, the clock is ticking. One close to our strand, yes. Another version of Vin. Forgive me. Frankly, I had doubts until the very end whether this would really work. All this, it's... incredible. Look for someone. Prophet. Thank you. I know I'm not the easiest person to get along with, but this... it means a lot to me. Give me 10 minutes, will you? Take a look around, do what you will. But be careful. Yes, you will.
I liked it. What do you think, love?
It was magnificent. We'll make a great bard out of you yet.
Really?
Really. And you know what? Because you did so well, I'll tell you a secret.
What is it?
It's a secret, so I can only tell you and not Mommy. Come over here and I'll tell you.
Hey, that's not fair.
Nothing in the world is fair, love. So, Princess, what do you say?
Okay.
Just a little closer. The secret is... the tickle monster is hungry again!
You too. Do you want to know another secret? The little princess is way past her bedtime already, and she knows it. Because I have told her before.
Alright, I'm going.
Look how she's grown. Time really does fly, doesn't it?
No argument there. I'll finish the letter, okay? You go upstairs and get some sleep. You've earned it.
Okay. Don't be too long, all right?
Don't worry, I won't. Hey, I love you.
I love you too, Naya. You just had to do it, didn't you? Well observed. Yes. Yes, I do. Huh? I'm afraid I've changed my mind. I'm staying. Tell me something I don't know. My daughter and my wife, Naya. The man that world out there made me into. I never wanted to be like him. All I wanted was to live a normal life, like the Juzlan of this world gets to. But that's just the way of things. The world doesn't care what you want. It decides. We endure. Yes, I did. Does it matter? They're gone. Dead. Buried under the sand of the Red Desert. End of story. Not here. I don't want them to find my body. Spare me the pathos. The dead are dead, and what they would have wanted is irrelevant. Though it might amuse you to know that, until recently, I would have agreed with you. But that was before I saw this. It opened my eyes. What do you mean? You... No. Dalmaric's writings are clear. We die, and it's over. A peaceful death in a peaceful world. You mean... You're clever. I have to hand it to you. You're really clever. The problem is, however, that you could be right. I can't afford to take that risk. So... I'm coming with you. But give me one more moment, will you? Just one. Let's go. You're all right. I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me. Yes, so am I. The house, their voices, it was simply too much to bear. I must ask your forgiveness. Of course I did. I don't know. Maybe I thought it would help me to see them, provide closure. Or maybe it was just the desire to see what might have been, as painful as it was. You've also lost people. Wouldn't you have done the same? Just as I thought. I do not want to talk about it. You've learned much about me in these past few hours. Leave me this last bit of privacy as a refuge. Good question. But now that I have done what I set out to do, I will tell the Grand Master and the Archmagister about it. Maybe they can put it to good use. Though frankly, I doubt it. The ether crystal has lost its power, and it'll be next to impossible to find a new one in the little time we have left at our disposal. And even if Heranthiel can get his hands on another one, the correction happens far too fast for us to gain worthwhile information about the cycle from other realities. But I'll leave the choice to him. I am grateful that you saved me. Now that I'm back here, I know that staying would have been the wrong choice. Still, I don't regret doing what we did. It showed me something. I believe that concludes our business, does it not? Thank you, again. I think we both know you've earned yourself more than just a couple of pennies. Wait a moment. Yes, here it is. This key will open a deposit box in the bank. The item you'll find there is for you. It's an heirloom, but I think you'll have more use for it than I will. I think we might have been friends had we met in another world. Who knows? Now I suggest... Wait, what is this? In that pouch of yours? That flower. Kirash, is this a Dreamflower? Where did you get it? In the other reality? By the name of the sun. That is fascinating. Then you want to brew the potion, don't you? The Dreamflower Elixir. No, you wouldn't do that, would you? All right, listen, that's a bad idea. The Dreamflower is dangerous. Extremely dangerous. No. That is, yes, it makes one powerful, but you must understand the reason why. The Dreamflower, I studied it for a long time, and by now I believe I understand how it functions. It takes over your spirit from the moment you drink it. Yes, Ibn Nadarim and the Kalayan's alchemist, whose writings you've probably read. They are both wrong. Yes, the Dreamflower improves your arcane skills, but it neither makes you immortal, nor does it allow you to seamlessly jump between realities. Instead, it puts you into an eternal slumber. Do you understand? From the moment you drink it, you're asleep, trapped in a dream where things always go the way you want them to. An Elysium. So did I. Believe me, I know what I am talking about. Drinking the Dreamflower Elixir means leaving reality forever. Everything that's written about the Dreamflower is theoretical. Believe me, if I wasn't convinced that my hypothesis was correct, I would be in Cairo looking for the flower right now. But it's pointless. Ultimately, you'll believe what you want to believe. Please, Prophet. You're about to make a mistake. An eternal dream. You'll fall asleep and continue existing in a world inside your head, but you won't even realize it. Give it to me. I believe I can brew something out of it that contains the positive effects the flower has on your arcane abilities, but without putting you to sleep. Please, Prophet, don't be a fool. You're toying with things you don't even remotely understand. Because you saved my life. Also, we need you. Blazes, you know about your role in all of this. Didn't you recently accuse me of being selfish? Fine. Do what you must. I'll prepare for the worst. Farewell, Prophet.
Prophet, it's good to see that you're here. Just follow the hallway down into the cave. That Starling man is on the ship. Or whatever you want to call it.
Well, he can't have built it all by himself. Just look at that thing. It's unbelievable.
I know, but apparently those steel spiders helped him. Interesting creatures, really. With enough of them, we could build another sun temple.
Huh, probably. Still, it would be better if he used his machine to keep those Neremans.
Ah, you. We were told you'd be coming. You're from Nerem as well, aren't you? Ah, just curious. They say the Starlings in Anku have built a similar ship. Did you know that? I'd really like to know if they've made it to the heavens. It's a fascinating piece of technology, it truly is. If only Lashari could see this.
What he did ask for was a tube with a circumference of 3 fingers' length. And does this look like 3 fingers' length to you? His thoughts exactly. Now bring him a new one. Chop chop. A welcome sight in dark times. He has not forgotten what you have done for him. Welcome, friend. Material, not help. To be honest, with all those brutes hammering on Gertrude right now, he is more concerned for her well-being than for his own need to be helped out. Ah, Gertrude. That's her name. It expresses both elegance as well as dignity, don't you think? In her embrace, we will find the ancient fathers. That's the deal, yes. Even though he wonders what you hope to find up there. Anyway, enough talk. They say you are quite skilled in finding things. And there are things that need to be found to finish Gertrude. Sakabaku copper alloys and a Pyrian crystal cube. Find them, the sooner the better. Well, that's the challenge. The alloys can probably be found in one of the old Starling mines in the Powder Desert. The crystal cube. That's a bit more complicated. But as far as he knows, you might find one in Thalgard. In the time of the expansion, there was a famous Starling tinkerer working under Dalmarak, and he must have used similar cubes in his work. Here, I'll mark both locations on your map. Please don't die. That would be most unpleasant. Ah, and one of the arcanists was so kind as to put a teleport rune in the cave, so you can use this scroll to return here. And now, excuse him. There's a lot to do, and Gertrude does not like to be kept waiting. Well, any luck? Perfect, that's them. Good work. He does have help, but indeed, according to your standards, he did it on his own. You know, many things become possible when one uses brains instead of muscles. Well, you know, according to the prophecies, the Star City has existed for tens of thousands of years now. In Asatoron's days, in the days of the Pyrians, and even in the days of those who were before them. In other words, if the Ancient Fathers have survived all that time, they will survive these High Ones, as you call them, as well. Maybe they already have. The steel machine. This beacon you have built on the Eye of the Gods. Isn't it possible that the Pyrians acquired the schematics from the Ancient Fathers? And even if that's not the case, then the Ancient Fathers simply choose not to intervene. Can you really blame them? Look at what mankind has done to the world ever since they've been here. If the Ancient Fathers consciously avoid interfering, they have their reasons. Don't judge them before you have met them. No. Gertrude and everything you see here is the result of decades of work. Not long ago, there was no threat at all from which he had to flee. What he wants is to fulfill his life's dream, his people's prophecies. That the Starlings one day return to where they came from, to their home. That's all. Ah, he thought so. Very good work. Your reputation is well deserved. Yes, he didn't expect it, but you and your order have been of great assistance indeed. Give him one more day and Gertrude will fly through the heavens like a fairy. Ah, and you should go to the captain's cabin before you leave. Your Grand Master arrived a short while ago, and it seems he wants to talk to you.
Prophet, have you found the missing pieces? Good. According to Kurmai, your journey will last 2 days. I've instructed him to first head for the Nexus Tower. According to the Starling writings, this is where the Ancient Fathers kept all their knowledge. The heart of the Star City, so to speak. And you will not be traveling on your own. The mercenaries, Sakaresh, Magistra Yaela, and her adjutant will accompany you. I expect you to be back at the temple in 1 week, with knowledge about the Numinas. As long as Skyrim's barriers are holding, yes. However, we should not rely on them. They will be there when the ship leaves. Before you go, however, I suggest you return to Ark to properly equip yourself. Who knows what you will be facing up there? Good. And on their way back, the others will be able to steer the ship without you, correct?
Yes. They won't be steering anything, to be precise. Because Gertrude flies on her own as soon as the coordinates have been set. He thanks you, Tealor Aranthiel. Any other Grand Master would have laughed at him, but you have listened instead. Now he will be the first of his people to meet the Ancient Fathers. It is hard to believe that. Walk blessed, and all the best for your fight.
Thank you. The others are expecting you. Ah, and there's one more thing. This amulet belonged to my son. I want you to have it. Wear it or not, the choice is yours. Now leave. And do not disappoint me.
The last passenger has arrived. That is a pleasure.
Welcome aboard. How are things going? Are you ready? Well then. All aboard! Then raise the ramp! She's taking off! And there we go. Good. Very good.
Incredible.
Incredible.